Hey everybody, my name is Matthew Sambanis, and if you are living paycheck to paycheck, or if you're looking to just simply save more money, this video is for you. I'm a certified public accountant. I've been a CPA for over 10 years, and I've been an accountant for close to 20 years. My first job was when I was 13 years old, making $5 an hour, and my hourly rate, I can tell you now, was about $400 an hour at the minimum. So before we dive in, I'd like to just touch on a recent survey that was done that found 40% of Americans don't have $400 set aside for an emergency or for a rainy day. And the ones that do have that $400 set aside have it allocated for something else. So according to the average savings of US households is $14,000, but which is nowhere near enough, but in reality, that means a lot of people have negative net worths. So that's a serious issue. And hopefully you can find some good pointers from this video that'll help you as they've helped me. So first and foremost, let's look at your current life. Where are you at? Let's assess and analyze your current situation. Are you spending money on silly things? Case in point, do you have on a brand new pair of Nikes? Did you go to Starbucks today? Are you paying $800-900 a month for your monthly car payment? Another $200-300 a month for your car insurance, which if you're in New York or California is the going rate depending on the type of car you have. Did you spend $350 at Starbucks for a regular cup of coffee today? And by the way, whether you go to Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, or 7-Eleven, I think across the board it's $350 for a large cup of coffee, which is completely absurd. Especially when you compare it to the 15 cents it costs you to make it at home. Speaking of which, I have a very nice cup of coffee right here. Is there stuff that you could do better, that you can do differently, that you can do more of or less of? Is the stuff that you're buying essential? Basically, I'm not telling you to be a pinch penny, but in effect, you want to be a pinch penny. And obviously there's big expenses, there's life expenses you can't avoid, but are there other expenses that you can either cut down or that you can save on by buying bulk? Case in point, going to Costco where everything is, their rule of thumb is they have a general 10% markup. So whatever Costco pays, if they pay $1 for it, they charge you $1.10. The downside is you have to pay for their annual membership, but it's worth every penny. I can tell you that personally. And I load up on goods there all the time, and they have great deals. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone to Costco, bought something, and then seen it for 2-3 times as much somewhere else, including on Walmart.com. So shop around, and ask yourself, is what you're buying necessary? Is it necessary to get a brand new couch, or could you go to the local thrift store? I'm sure that sounds gross to you. I can tell you that up until I was 40 years old, I never bought a brand new couch. The couches that I have were either given to me, they were bartered for, or I bought them at the thrift store. So I'm practicing what I preach here. I can tell you that I didn't own my first new car until I was 35 years old. And when I bought that brand new car, it was after I had paid for my mom's brand new car that she had never had. So, that's my priorities. So wait until it's absolutely necessary. And then it got to the point, thankfully, because I kept on building and building and building. I bought a second new car, and then and then I was down to added another new car, and then I have 2 brand new cars sitting in the driveway. Although they're a few years old, very low miles, but point is they're paid off. So is what you're buying necessary? And I guess that sounds a little contradictory to what I shared, but that's also based on my current living situation and current savings. Ask yourself, what happens if you don't make the next purchase? I can tell you there's been so many times I wanted to buy X, Y, and Z, and I never bought it, and it turns out I never needed it. And I can tell you there's been a ton of times where I thought I absolutely had to buy something, and then it ends up collecting dust, and then I end up giving it away. Because for me, it's easier to give it away than to sell it online or resell it, because I just don't have the time, and it's not worth my time, frankly. Ask yourself if you're living above your means. Again, you know that answer. And if you are, then you need to cut it down and do whatever you need to do to cut that down. Go out and work, get a second job, start a side business. Listen, I at the minimum, I work 30 to 40 hours per week. When it's tax season, I work 60, 70, 80, 90 hours per week. On average, throughout the whole year, I would say I work 50 to 60 hours per week. Sometimes more, sometimes less. and I work hard, and I work hard while I'm at work, and I wear a lot of hats. I'm self-employed. I have a CPA firm. I have other people that work for me. So it never stops. So what that means for you is either A, start a side job. There's books on side jobs or side businesses that you can do with no money down or no capital. And, it cuts both ways. Either get a second job or start a side business, start a .com, do reselling, do, YouTube, affiliate marketing, drop shipping, and on and on and on. There's so many ways that you can go make money, and the demand for employees is absolutely through the roof. We've been looking for an administrative assistant for months and can't find one. It's completely insane. And then we put up the ads on Indeed and Craigslist, and we call people and they never call back. So if you're looking for a second job, it's definitely out there. The remote working is a lot more popular. I disagree with it, but it's a lot more popular. I'm sure you can definitely find something out there if you need a second job. And whatever you do with that second job, if you need to supplement your first income, okay, fine. But whatever you don't need to, save that money. Start to save every penny and guard it. And the more you guard that money and the more you accumulate, the more you'll accumulate. It's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. By the way, please like, comment, and subscribe. As I mentioned before, this is going to be one of 5 videos that I'll be releasing within the next week. So the first one is on how to save money, which is this one. Second one is on how to become rich. Third one is on how to start your own business / make more money at your job. Fourth one is personal financial planning. Fifth one is how to grow your business. So a lot of good videos coming out. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you would like me to talk about anything in particular, leave a comment. If you have any questions, leave a comment, and I try to reply to all the comments, and hopefully it gets to the point one day that I can't reply to all the comments. So how to save money. Stop spending your money on stupid stuff, right? I kind of touched on that before. Stop the Starbucks, stop going out and buying a fancy Lexus, stop buying brand new Nikes. You don't have to get the brand new iPhone, whatever the case may be. Stop spending your money on stupid stuff. I can't emphasize that enough. It's something I've also been guilty of myself, and I've been not guilty of it. And I'm working more and more on it to become not guilty of it. Pay yourself first, right? So every paycheck you get, set up a separate savings account, set up a separate cash hoard, whatever you want to do, and pay yourself first. The general rule of thumb is 10%. If you can't afford 10%, start with 1%. And then once you get to 1%, start with 2, and then 3, and then 4, and build it up. And by the way, if you get a raise or you take on a second job, all that should go to your savings, right? All that should go to your savings, and you want to keep on building up on that cash pile. And the more you do it, the more it'll accumulate. And then eventually we'll do another video on investments, and once you have enough money, 5, 10, 15, 25,000, find a financial advisor, invest your money in the stock market or an annuity, or there's plenty of other ways to put your money to work for you, which again is another conversation. Set goals, right? Assess your current situation, set goals, and start to work towards those goals. I know that when I'm working towards a goal, that's when I'm operating at my best. Everything I focus on is working towards and accomplishing that goal. This is how much money you have now. This is how much money you want to have. And don't just do it, in the short term, do it in the long term. How much money do you want to have at the end of this month, in 3 months, 6 months, 11 months, 12 months, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25, and then you retire. Most people are going to live till about 85 years old. So you need to have enough money by the time you're 65 to retire that it'll last you until 85 years old. Save every penny, plan for the long term. Excuse me. Everyone starts out broke. So most of the rich people that you see today, I think about 1% of it was inherited and 99% of it is from people going out and working hard. I can't emphasize that enough. Work hard. And it's kind of like if you were to run a marathon, if you were going to wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to run a marathon, you would learn how to do it, right? You would go out, you would get books on it, you would ask other runners how they run a marathon, you would watch YouTube videos, etc., etc. See what rich people do. There's tons and tons of books on people who made billions of dollars, who made millions of dollars. There's habits of millionaires. Just tons and tons of books about people and how they make money and keep their money and put it to work for them. Never mind how many books you can get on the stock market and invest in and all that other stuff. So I strongly recommend, just like if you were going to run a marathon, do your homework now. What do rich people do that you can imitate? And first things first, they save money, right? How else do you get rich? You save your money. Don't buy stupid stuff. And just like that, that's how you learn to become, a millionaire. And if you're young, you're going to need to start to do that sooner than later because, again, you're going to live till at least 85 years old, hopefully. And by the time you hit 65, you want to be retired. You don't want to be one of these old people who, I understand they need a job and it's unfortunate, but you don't want to be one of them. You want to have the option to work and you want to have the option to not work when you are at that age. So it's cause and effect. You want to keep on keeping on, meaning you're going to save money, some emergency is going to come up, and it's going to, in theory, require you to dip into your savings. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Act as if you don't have that money. I can tell you one thing that I've done since I've been a young kid is I've bought baseball cards, I've bought comic books, I've bought silver, I've bought gold, all sorts of physical assets that I never looked at it as a means to sell it, and I'm not telling you to do that, even though those investments, and they turned out to be do very well for me, thankfully. But basically, I can't spend it. I can't tell you how many times I had an emergency come up and I say, no, this is what I'm willing to spend and that's it. So stay out of debt, especially credit card debt. The average credit card interest rate is, I think, 23 to 26%. That's absolutely astronomical. That means if you spend $100 and pay it back over due time, it would cost you $250. So unless you're going to make a purchase on your credit card and you have the money to pay it off in full and you're collecting the points and that's the only reason you're using a credit card, don't use a credit card. Basic rules: spend less than you earn, right? Self-explanatory. Spend less than you earn. You earn $100 a week, and don't forget, we're not even going to get into the tax man. Just in theory, you collect $100 a week net, you should only be spending $90. And if you can spend less and keep on saving that money. Save and invest the balance. So don't invest all of your money. You want to have some cash on hand for multiple reasons, including emergencies, including if there's another stock market crash. You want to have the money there for opportunities, whether they're business, economic, etc. If you come across a great deal, okay, fine. If it's a way for you to make money, if it's an investment, go with it. Live on less than you're bringing in. Same concept. Spend less than you earn. Or, live on less than you're bringing in. If you are 20 years old and you start to save $100 per month, and that grows at 10% on average, which is what the stock market has done, from 20 years old until 65, you'll be worth $1.18 million. On the flip side, if you do $200 per month, you'll be worth about $2.4 million at 65 years old. And don't forget, the more you increase that, the more your net worth is going to go. And that's only $50 a week. So $50 a week, 25 at the minimum to become a millionaire over a 45-year time span. It's fast. It's huge. It seems like forever from now, especially if you're young, but I can tell you that comes up real fast. And you don't want to be like one of these guys that are in their mid-40s and 50s and saying, oh, dog do, I have nothing set aside for retirement. So going back to what I was saying first, pay yourself first, save 10% and set up a separate account or hide it in cash or both, however you want to cut it, whatever you have to do to save 10% so you don't see it. I can tell you, I personally have, I'm a little different because I have a business, but I have 3 business accounts and I have 3 brokerage accounts. And the 2 brokerage accounts, I don't use them. I just keep my cash there and I don't even factor in that money being a part of my life. And the other one, my E-Trade account, which is now Morgan Stanley, I use for my day-to-day investments. And also I have a 401k and a Roth IRA and a regular IRA, but I'm also a little eclectic. So here's the rule. The more you save, the more you become better with money. The more you become intelligent with money, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You become more thoughtful about every expense, and then you become a different person. So the more money you have, the more confident you're going to feel. You're going to feel like you're operating that much stronger. You have a much more stronger vantage point, etc. And then because you feel confident about yourself, you're going to earn more at your job or as a self-employed person. because the more you like yourself, the more other people like you. The more you like yourself, the more you like other people, and they in turn like you. And again, the more likable you are, you make more money. So that's another tip. If you'd like to make more money, be more likable. And the golden rule is it's not how much you earn, it's how much you keep. How many times are there these athletes, these, rock and roll stars, whatever, they make 10, 20, 30, 40 million dollars a year, and they have nothing left to show for it. They've just went out and spent all their money plus some. Don't do that. Just don't do that. Save your money, no matter how much money you're making, just save it all. And what I would do is build up a cash hoard, invest in the stock market, find dividend paying stocks, and then when your dividends are paying enough for you to retire at any point in time, then maybe spend your money a little more loosely, but continue to save it and continue to reinvest it. So delay and procrastinate on every major expenditure, whether it's car, furniture, stereo, vacation. Give 30 days to think about it, and at the end of the day, you'll either end up not doing it, you'll find a much better alternative. I can't tell you how many times I went to go and buy something, and then 30 days later, 60 days later, a year later, I found it for a much better deal. And I can't tell you how many times I went ahead and bought something and said 3 months later, 6 months later, I found it somewhere else for much cheaper. So delay on major purchases, whatever the case may be. Never buy new what you can buy used. So I can tell you that my first 20 cars were all bombs. The first car I ever bought crapped out on me. The engine blew after the first 5 days. I had to bring it back to the place I bought it from. They had to rebuild it from scratch. And it took me a long time before I bought my first new car. So buy new. Buy used. And again, once you're at a point in your life that you can afford a new car, then go for it. And by the way, again, I know other people who, I had a guy come in last week worth a lot of money. He could have easily bought a brand new car, but instead he went with a used car. And what did he do? He just invested the difference. So if you're going to buy used, invest the difference. The other trick that I've done is I can tell you that there's been plenty of times when I bought something that maybe I shouldn't have bought. If it was a couple $100, say $500, not only would I buy that, but I'd say, okay, in spite of that, or because of that, I'm now going to take that $500, another $500, and invest it in the stock market or myself to offset that expense that I just splurged on. So it's the rule of thumb, count your pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves. So delay expensive outlays, cut your current expenses, and reduce your debt. Where in 2023, everything is monthly subscriptions, everything is through the roof. So if you're living paycheck to paycheck, which I know a lot of people who are, but then I see them spend money on obnoxious stuff. I can't tell you DoorDash, Netflix. I can't even tell you all the subscriptions that are out there that I've seen people just spend money on, and then they complain they don't have money, but they're spending it all. So cut your expenses. If there's an alternative, go for the alternative. And if you really don't need it, you really don't need it. If you do need it and it's essential, that's okay, fine. And come into the best investment of all, which is to invest in yourself. Listen to audiobooks, listen to CDs, learn how to, better your skills, whether you're self-employed, whether your job, and think about it. Work harder, work longer. And, if your boss comes along and he says, okay, I have employee A who is working harder and who's working longer and who's always available and shows up early and stays late, and I have employee B who doesn't, who do I want to give a raise to? Who do I want to give a promotion to? Who do I want to give more money to? It's going to be employee A, right? So it's simply not only doing the next right thing that matters, but doing the next right thing and going above and beyond is, it's never crowded along the extra mile, right? You drive the extra mile, it's never crowded in theory. Or if it is, then you're up there with other winners. So good luck. Hopefully this was helpful. Again, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.